Honor's latest flagship, the Honor 10, is a pretty phone, for sure. And Honor was kind enough to send me one, so I figured I would try to do one of my complete walkthroughs. Now, if you're not familiar with my complete walkthrough series, it's basically me trying to go through every single feature I possibly can on a new device so that you guys are better informed or better prepared should you be in the market for buying one. With that said, there is a lot to cover. So let's start with the hardware. The device has a front and back glass design with an aluminum frame. That back, much like that of the Huawei P20 it's sort of based off of, comes in some fun gradient colors. They call it Aurora glass design, and this is the phantom blue model that, even more than the P20 and P20 Pro, changes color in different lighting instead of just a gradient from one to the other. It's pretty awesome to see in real life, frankly. There's also a phantom green with a similar effect, and a silver and black for those that don't like it. On the front, we have a 5.84-inch 2280 by 1080 pixel 19 by 9 aspect ratio IPS display. There's also a notch, and because it's running EMUI 8.1, there's also a setting in the display section to hide it by making the top of the screen black if you want. Under the screen, we have our fingerprint sensor that doubles as our home button that can also be used as an off-screen navigation using swiping gestures to go home, back, and to get to multitasking. This can add some extra screen real estate by removing the normal Android navigation menu if you want. The interesting thing about the fingerprint sensor, though, is that it's technically an ultrasonic under glass one. This would be a lot cooler, of course, if it was just in the display, so to make less of a bezel, but there you go. Also, it's definitely not as fast as the Huawei fingerprint sensor or other ones because of the new tech, which is basically that the glass from the display is just kind of melded over where the fingerprint sensor or the home button would normally be, so they're using an ultrasonic one instead of just a normal one. It's kind of like using it for the sake of using it without getting really the benefits, and just makes the fingerprint sensor a tad slower. There's also facial unlocking though, which works really quickly. Above the screen, we have our front-facing camera that is a whopping 24 megapixels in resolution, has an f2.0 aperture, and can shoot video in 1080p. At the bottom, we have our 3.5mm headphone jack, our speaker, and a USB Type-C charging port that is fast charging capable. In addition to the headphone port though, it does support aptX HD for higher quality audio bit rates over Bluetooth as well. At the top, we have our IR blaster that can be used with their smart remote app to turn the Honor 10 into a universal remote that can control devices like TVs, air conditioning units, cameras, projectors, etc. On the left, there is a dual SIM card slot with each supporting LTE. There is no micro SD card slot, by the way. On the right, the power button and volume rocker. The device is 7.7 millimeters thick and weighs just 5.4 ounces. There is no IP rating that was mentioned, so it's safe to assume that it's not terribly water resistant, or Honor just didn't feel like getting the IP rating because it does actually cost money. Powering the Honor 10 is the Kirin 970 chipset, and it comes with either 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, or 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The Honor 10 is running Android 8.1 with EMUI 8.1 on top. And it's the same variety of EMUI that we're used to seeing, so I won't go through it too much, but quickly, here are some of the apps that Honor has pre-installed. Backup, a phone backup and restore program. Duo, which is Google's video calling software that's pre-installed on the phone. Files, their own file explorer that can sort by type of file or location. Flashlight, which is used to magically illuminate things behind the phone when you tap the button. Gallery, their own photo album that sorts photos and videos by albums and locations. Game Suite, which is a way of changing the way that notifications work and boosting performance in games. Health, which is Huawei's own health app, which, by the way, Huawei is Honor's parent company, if you didn't know. Honor, which is literally just a shortcut to Honor's website. Mirror, which is a strange app to use as a mirror that offers basically the same features as just turning on the selfie camera. Music, which is Honor's own music player. Notepad, a simple note-taking application. Phone Clone, which allows you to download the app on another phone and quickly transfer all of your photos, videos, apps, etc. from one device to the other. Phone Management, their own app for cleaning up cache storage, monitoring or limiting mobile data, battery monitoring, and scanning for viruses. Quick, which is bloatware because it's just GoPro's video editing app. Recorder, a simple voice recording app. SIM Toolkit, which is an app that allows you to adjust how the SIM is used in the device. Themes, where you can download or buy new themes from Huawei's repository. Tips, which is Honor's app for showing you how to get the most out of your device. Video, a video player gallery. Weather, which is a basic weather app with weather data provided by AccuWeather. A swipe keyboard, which is a popular third-party keyboard from the Play Store that Honor just sets as their default, but of course you can always change. And finally, one more software thing that Honor has on the Honor 10 is Huawei Share that allows you to share photos, etc. with any other Huawei or Honor device a lot faster than pairing via Bluetooth manually. Think of it as AirDrop for Honor. On the back, we have our dual camera setup featuring a 16 megapixel f1.8 RGB camera and a 24 megapixel monochrome camera. The idea here is that whenever you take a photo, it combines the two to produce an image with higher contrast ratios of the monochrome sensor with the color detail of the RGB sensor. Now, just like other Huawei and Honor devices, they are touting an AI camera that can recognize more than 500 plus scenarios in 22 categories and adjust the saturation, ISO, and other camera settings to take a better photo. On their site, they even have that more scenes will be added later, like panda. Finally, right? You can enable or disable the AI camera functions by tapping the AI button in the viewfinder. With it enabled, it'll pop up an icon whenever it recognizes a scene and shows you live what it'll look like when it's captured. I've noticed though that even if it doesn't pop an icon, if you turn on AI mode, it'll still try and alter the photo after the fact to make it just pop more. One of the nice things though is that whenever it does take one of these AI photos, it actually saves the original and the AI image together. Now you can go into the gallery and tap the AI icon above it to swap between them. So there's no harm in having it on, at least, unlike with other AI cameras. Going through the rest of the camera settings really quickly, we have moving picture. This is the same as live photos from the iPhone basically, and it takes a short video before and after the shutter is pressed that can be viewed back when looking at the photo in the gallery. Aperture, which allows you to add software-enabled bokeh by adjusting a virtual aperture from 0.95 to 16. Think of it like portrait mode in a way. Then we do have portrait mode, which is similar to aperture mode above, but only seems to work with human beings. In addition to blurring out the background, it also has a beauty mode that the intensity can be adjusted up or down. Something I've noticed though is that even if you turn it all the way off, it still adds a tiny bit of softening and makes your skin a little lighter. There's also a 3D lighting effect for portrait mode that can change the way the lighting looks on or behind the portrait mode subject. AR lens. Think Snapchat lenses built into the camera. Masks, custom backgrounds, and even a few AR anime characters in this model are available, and you can download more from their app. Pro mode, which allows you to adjust all the camera's functions manually, like ISO, shutter speed, exposure, autofocus, white balance, etc. Slow-mo, we only have regular slow-mo here, which is recorded at 120 frames per second in up to 1080p. There is no 240, as there is in some other devices, and no super slow-mo like 960 that we see in, say, phones like the S9 Plus and the S9. Night shot, this setting allows you to take long exposure shots that holds the shutter open. It's not quite on par with the Huawei P20 and P20 Pro's version because they have much better stabilization, so it is recommended to be used with a tripod, unlike theirs that can be used handheld. Panorama, which we're used to seeing that lets you just take a wider photo by stitching photos together. Monochrome, which of course allows you to use only the monochrome sensor to take nice black and white shots. HDR, which is a mode on Huawei and Honor devices instead of just being automatically detected in the auto mode like most manufacturers, which I don't really understand. Filter, just basically think Instagram filters. 3D panorama, which lets you circle an object to make a 3D-like movable image. Watermark, think Snapchat stickers based on time, location, etc. Document scanner, which allows you to take photos of documents or anything that resembles one really, and it'll automatically crop it and brighten it, trying to make it look like a scan. 3D creator, which lets you 3D scan a face like Jaime, you might recognize here from Pocket Now, who after being scanned, I can now turn into a 3D emoji doll looking thing and give him fun haircuts and change his clothes and just embarrass him however I feel. Artist mode, basically filters, but more cartoony or drawn. And finally, good food mode, which is available in the download section, but it allows you to choose manually what the AI scene detection does when it recognizes food, which is basically just turn up the saturation. And now, let's really quickly dive into the settings of the Honor 10's camera. Resolution for photos, you can choose between 24 megapixels at 4:3 aspect, 16 megapixels at 4:3, 12 megapixels at 1:1, or 10 megapixels at 18:9. For video resolution, we have 4K in 30 frames per second, FHD Plus in 30 frames per second, FHD in either 60 or 30 frames per second, and 720p in 30 frames per second. Now we have RAW format, which if shooting in pro mode, you can capture RAW format photos. If you don't know what those are, then you probably don't need to enable this, but it basically allows for more complex photo editing after the fact. Now GPS tag turns on and off whether you want location data to be stored in the metadata of your image file. Watermarks, which just automatically adds the Honor logo to the photos that you take on the rear camera in case you feel like advertising for them with every picture you take. Assistive grid, which allows you to add various grids to the viewfinder while taking an image to help you line up shots. This is something I personally always have on every camera. Mirror reflection, this flips the front-facing camera around to more resemble a mirror. Mute, which I highly recommend, but it just turns off the camera sounds. I don't know why you would ever want a shutter sound, frankly, but you know, maybe you do. Timer, set a timer for when the photo is taken after the shutter is pressed of either 2, 5, or 10 seconds. Audio control, which allows you to take photos with your voice by either saying cheese or when your voice hits a certain decibel level, aka gets loud enough. Touch to capture, which allows you to tap the screen to take a photo. Capture smiles, which automatically will take a photo if it detects anyone smiling in the image. Touch and hold shutter icon. This lets you choose whether you want a burst shot or to lock the focal length when you touch and hold the shutter button. Volume button function. Choose if you want the volume buttons to take a photo, in other words, push the shutter, zoom in and out, or move the focus in and out. And then we have Ultra Snapshot. Now, whenever the screen is off, if this is enabled, you can double tap the volume down button to either open the camera quickly, open the camera and take a photo automatically quickly, or of course, just not do anything. And there you go. A complete walkthrough of the Honor 10. Let me know what you guys think of this video and these walkthroughs. Should I add some things? Should I take some things away? Also, what you guys think of the Honor 10 itself. I think it's kind of a neat phone. It's really pretty, at least. And it's a little less expensive than some of the flagships out there, but compared to say like a OnePlus, I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys. Also, shout out to WeWork for letting me film in their location. I'm a member of theirs. It's a co-working location. I've been there for about 2 years. They were kind enough to also offer you guys a discount should you want to sign up or just check out one of their locations. You just have to sign up for a walkthrough. It's no obligation, but if you do and you use my link below, you can get up to 20% off your first year. So that was cool of them to offer that, at least if you're interested. Otherwise, if you like this video, please thumbs up it or share it. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you really liked it, check out the rest of the channel. And if you like what you see there, please subscribe and click the bell next to the word subscribe so you get notified when I do new videos. As always though, regardless, thanks for watching.